Welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is ANY 150, and this is Module 6, and we are now in the turn-in instructions. This is the video tutorial for that. We'll take you through every aspect of turning this in properly. So the deliverables, the student will turn in a large and small sci-fi crate that are side by side in Maya as an MB, FBX, or OBJ file. Let's go ahead and start with that. Here is our crates, and we want to separate them by at least by 4 grid spaces. And so let's go ahead and do that. And so when I have a nice perspective, I can see both. Okay, we're going to do both sides. Okay, let's go ahead and do this first one, and you guys know how to do it. Make sure I get a nice perspective, and you can follow exactly what I'm doing here. Okay, and when I do this, I'm going to get rid of a lot of junk I don't need to have. So if I don't want to show the vertex count on stuff, I can just go to display, heads up display, and turn that off. And then I'm going to go up to where it says classic, go into modeling expert, and this will give me a nicer, larger viewport. This is no different than what we have been doing all along. So let's go ahead and get started. Just hit the S key, snipping tool, and let's just start knocking these out. Okay. Alright, so you need to have your first name on there, the last name, and we always want to put what class this is, right? And let's do ANY 150, and then what module this is. MOD, this is 06, and then what is this? This is a perspective, right? And I'm just going to go perspective 01. There we go. And I'm going to highlight this, do a Control C, save it. Alright, so let's go to the next one. We're going to do wireframe on shaded, so click on wireframe right there. Let's do the same thing. Again, this shouldn't take too long. Now that we know what we're doing, alright, so where are we at? 150. There it is, module 6. We're going to do this one instead of, we're going to put perspective underscore wireframe, or just wire. There we go, that'll work. And save that out. And that's the desktop. Here we go. Close that, and what we're going to do is rotate around this way, like that. So we can get a nice view of the smaller crate. There we go. Let's go ahead and just snip that. And this will be number 2. Okay, close that up. And we'll turn the wireframe off. It makes it pretty simple. And you have these weirdness stuff going on here, don't worry. It's okay. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to grade you on that. I'm just going to grade you. I'm just grading you on the how you modeled it, not what it looks like. That's going to happen when we actually render this. Alright, so one last one here. And this will be number 2. Okay, so those are your screenshots. That's all we need for screenshots. I'll go ahead and close that. Render. How we want to render this. I like that 3-point light system we had for let me go ahead and get this back to classic. when we did our dagger and our battle axe. I want the same lighting system, so I'm not going to recreate that from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and import it into the scene here. And so you have to go and find it, and you'll have to export it out. Okay, and that's something that I like to reuse stuff a lot, and it saves a lot of time. So let's go in here, and you can see projects, my 3, 4, and 5, and my scenes. And you will want to find that scene where you have your render. Only you know where that is. So you find it. Which one is that? The 19th, and what time? Let's go ahead and do this. View, sort by, date created. Okay. So we're going all the way down here. Render. That's it. That's the latest one I had. I can double click on that if I want to, or I can just open it up. But that's the one I'm looking for. Okay. Alright. So what you do is you open it up, and let's see. I don't want to go and do this first. Set project. There we go. So I'm going to set my project back with on the module that I did before with the battle axe and the dagger. So I'm going to set that. I'm going to go ahead and file open. You're going to want to save this scene. I've already got this saved, so I don't need to save it. Just in case, I want to go in here, close this a minute, and go in here and file save scene as, just to make sure. And let's see here, yeah, let's go number 2 on this one. There we go. And set project real quick. Let me get this set up. And we're going to do open scene. And I'm looking for the last one here for dagger rendering. Okay. Oh, that's not the one. It's not the one. Let's see. Texturing. Try this one. Rendering. Okay, let's do that one. Nope, that's not it. Well, dang nabbin', where did I put it? Here we go. This one here. That it? Nope. Lighting, rendering, dagger, export. Well, that's what I created. Arnold lighting template, battle axe. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and basically give you this. So I'm gonna cancel this a minute and let's go back to where I have it. Let's go back and set this project, and I'll cut this part out. Sci-fi crate, yeah. Set and open. Here we go. Okay, so for rendering, lighting and rendering, I like to reuse stuff. So some of you guys may have lost your studio lighting for your dagger, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you that, and I'll put this in module 6. Look for it, and it should be directly under the turn-in instructions, so you'll have it there. So look for the material for the zip folder with that, and what you're going to do is just going to go ahead and unzip it and place that scene into your scenes folder, and then you're going to go to import. Okay, so we're going to import it into the scene. So you're going to have the scene, you're going to import it in, and you're going to be looking for the Arnold lighting template. So click on that and click import. Okay, there it is now. You might have to scale your chests down, and that's fine. So what I'll do is select those, and I'm going to go ahead and have them all one piece now. I've got too many things selected here, so I'm going to go into Windows. It's hard to see this stuff, so I don't want the Arnold lighting selected, so I'm going to hold down on the Control key and deselect those. The rest of this stuff is okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Combine, right? Combine those. Oh, I didn't want to combine this. Hold on. The plane. Let's deselect that. There we go. So what else is there? Let me make sure I don't have anything else selected. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks good. And so we'll go ahead and combine those, right? Combine them, and hit pivot point in the center, and we'll just go ahead and scale that down. Right. There we go. And if you want it, and if yours is fine, then you don't need to scale down, then don't do it. I'm scaling mine down because it's too big. And we want to place them right on top. We may want to scale these down a little bit more. There we go. And then let's go ahead and move that to the top. So they're just sitting on top there. And now we're ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and move these where we need to and get my camera set up. Alright, and let's go ahead and move this one. I guess I didn't move that over like I should. I want to space these out a little bit more so we can see them better. So I'm going to select this guy right here. Actually, let's just select both of them. And separate those. So I'm going to go into Mesh Separate real quick. I'm going to go ahead and select this guy by himself here and deselect. Hold down the Control key and deselect the floor. And I'm going to go ahead and center pivot and just move it over so they're separated a little bit more and get more of a perspective angle here. Okay, so when we're rendering, we don't want to see this kind of stuff going on here. So if I need to, I can move those over a little bit more. I don't want that gap there. I want this to look as professional as possible, so I'm going to select those again, now that they're separated properly. I'm going to hold the Control key down and click that off, and I'm going to go ahead and select Combine again. Now we're not going to use these ever again. I mean, as far as like using them, we're just doing this for rendering purposes. So we can get that to me. And so get that lined up, and we're going to go ahead and get this set up. Okay, and that's not really a final render, but we're going to do final renders. Usually we have this 5 or 6 right here, the rest of it's fine. And then Comments tab, we usually have this set to HD 1080, right? Okay, that's what we need for final renders. When we're doing just the lighting, just to see what it's going to look like, we usually do HD 540 so we don't waste too much time. So I'm going to do a quick render here. All my lighting setup is fine, and you can tweak your lighting. If you think something's off or something looks too dark, then feel free to go and tweak out those lights. It should look pretty decent right out of the box. We'll see how it looks and see if we need to make any changes. It shouldn't take too long. There's our renders. We have some shadows, which is good. That's really nice. We have a little bit of a spot right there, so let me go in here and go ahead and click on the mask, and yes, it shows right there. The mask does a really good job of showing exactly what's happening there. And so let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit more. Okay, we can zoom in quite a bit more. There we go. Move that around. Get a nice looking render here. And let's go ahead and render it one more time. This should actually take, it should be faster than the first time I did it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, so you can see what we have here so far, and we've got the chests on there. That looks really nice, the sci-fi crates. Look good. Everything's rendering fine. I mean, this is just low poly renders, and I'm not too, quirky about that. I think I'm okay with that. So go ahead and go to File, Save Image, and make sure that you go into the option box and make sure color management is on. So I'm going to go ahead and apply and close. Now, I didn't really add an AI standard surface to this. I just basically, it's a Lambert. So let's go ahead and let's look what happens when we do add a AI standard surface. So assign new material. Now if you want it back, if you don't like what we have here, you can always go to Maya and then click on Lambert, and that'll give you the same Lambert that we had before. But I want to try the Arnold shader, and this is what we're going to end up using anyway. So AI standard surface, and we'll turn all that all the way up. We'll just leave everything else the way it is and go ahead and do a quick render. Now it's going to have to convert the textures, and it's going to be a lot brighter. And the problem with that is it's actually, it looks more realistic, but it's actually reflecting the environment, which is totally white. So I don't really want that. So what we can do here is you can turn the roughness up to 0.5, okay, and you can turn the IOR down to 1, which is air, okay. 1.5 is like crystal. So now we're going to get more of a flat looking object, which will resemble the Lambert. We still have a really white area up on top, so we may want to go in here and just turn the, instead of having white, let's go ahead and take that out of there, and let's go to a color instead of white. Let's go to a darker gray. Something like that will work. Okay, let's try that. And so there we go. That looks perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So that looks good. That'll be basically our first render. That's what I want to see. Now we're at HD 540, and that's not what I want. So let's close that and let's get to full frame. Let's go back into the render settings and let's get this back up to where it needs to be. Okay, so we're good to go. And so we'll set this up to something like, I don't think I need to go much higher than 5. 6 is pretty max, so 5 would be good. And so close that off, and I'm gonna pause the video so you don't have to wait. Okay, so that was about 2 minutes and 33 seconds. So, and that's at I think at 5. That's what I set it at. So we're going to save this out, and I want you to save this to your desktop, and we're going to call it your first name, last name, and I've done quite a few of these renders already, and we're going to do Annie 150, and we're going to do module 6, and we're going to call this perspective 1, and we're going to differentiate this from the screenshot by typing in render. There we go, like that. Get rid of that, and make sure JPEG is selected, and we're on the desktop, and save it. I'm going to close that. And to move things along, I'm going to go ahead and double click on this, and we're going to call that create texture, and we'll name that so we can go back in here and reapply it again real quick. But then we're going to go in to assign new material again. I'm going to go to AI standard surface. We're going to go in, instead of doing that one, we're going to go wireframe. And make sure you turn off triangles and you turn on edge type to polygons. With that done, I'm going to call this create wireframe, right? Or just create wire texture. So there's that. Ooh, too much there. There we go. Alright, so save that. And that should be ready to go. And again, you're going to render that out at HD 1080. Okay, there's our render. I'm going to save that out. And let's see here. So desktop. Where is it now? No, render. Yeah, it looks like I got it okay here. And let's type in render here. At the very end, underscore render. There we go. Save that out. And we're going to continue doing this to the other side. So I rotate it around, move them over here, and we do the same thing again. This time I'm able to see this guy a little bit better. Zoom in, make sure we get them all facing. Here we go. We'll probably go a little bit farther this way. There we go. Okay, pretty close. There we go. We're going to want to apply that texture back again, so we're going to go, well, actually we can just go ahead and do the wireframe on this side. So we'll do that. I'll pause. Alright, let's go ahead and save that. And just do this, put number 2 at the end of that. Save that out. And close that, and then we'll add the texture. So right mouse button click, assign existing material, and we're going to do the create TX. There we go. And so we'll render that out. That shouldn't take too long. And there you go. The last one, save scene as. And so we should have 8 altogether. So this one is going to be, do that number 2 here. There we go. Cool. So 2 smooth shade and 2 wireframe. Good to go. And then, oh, one last thing I forgot to do is we need to save this out. Let's rotate it over this way. get it kind of in the middle, and I need you to export these two out. Okay, so those need to be selected, and we need to now do the file format. So export selection, and this is going to be our Maya binary. Okay, so we're going to put this on the desktop, and that's really important. First name, last name, you got it, Annie 150, module 6. And save that out as a binary. There we go. And do it again 2 more times. And this will be obj. And desktop here. And I should have copied and pasted, but I didn't. So I gotta spell it all out again. Let's see, any 150. Let's see, it catches it here. Module 4. At least we got some way, part of the way there. There we go. And this time I'm going to be smart. Control C. I always forget to do that. File, export, selection, and FBX. The usual smoothing groups, smooth mesh, and the latest version of FBX. Sounds good. And then paste. Save that out on the desktop. Okay, that's it. Save your work, and now we're ready to put everything together. Wow, crazy stuff. So in the make sure you follow the folder structure here. Okay, that's really important. First, last, module 6, make sure you get a scenes folder, a screenshots, and a render folder. And that's what we have here. Renders, so my renders go in there, and I know which ones those look like. Let's put those in there like this. There we go. And then my screenshots, they all look like this. There's 4 there. So 4 renders, 4 screenshots. And then you guessed it. And I just go ahead and select everything there. There should be 4. Put those in there. So we've got our renders in here. Our screenshots in here. You can see, let me see if I can get a better view. Extra large. There we go. So it gives you an idea what they look like. Here's my screenshots. You can see my renders look totally different. There you go. So I can tell the difference when you guys render them and when you don't. And then my scenes, there's my object files in there. So we're good. It's pretty simple this week. And so you'll upload that. And we're going to go ahead and make sure we zip it. Okay, so make sure you double click on everything. This is the file you're going to upload to the module 6 assignment. So double check it before you zip it. Make sure your renders are in there. I want you to visually make sure that everything's in there. Okay, because you'll get dock points if you're missing anything. Okay, so go ahead and upload it into the module 6 assignment. Okay. Alright. I hope you guys have a great week, a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday again for module 7, where we'll do the high poly. I'll see you then.